Hi, it's August 8th, and I'm posting these videos as a video journal to try and recover from the trauma of watching my little brother be killed by this British Columbia government after a long period of them jailing him, terminating his visits with me. He was my last living family member in the lower mainland of British Columbia, and I was his last visitor. And his group home, L'Arche, L'Arche, created a secret power of attorney, and it's called a representation agreement on February 1st of 2021 so that they could give him the COVID-19 shot secretly. I have a sister on Vancouver Island who opposes the COVID-19 shot. So they got my 81-year-old nun sister, who's a member of the Sisters of St. Joseph of Sault Ste. Marie, 4,000 kilometers away in North Bay, Ontario, to be his representative. My brother, Paul, was a wonderful guy. He was profoundly developmentally disabled with Down syndrome. He never functioned above the level of a 15-month-old. And I grew up with him. My sister never lived with him, and the nun never contributed anything to his care. And as a matter of fact, in 2013, she gave his entire inheritance to L'Arche and got a kickback worth $12,000 in return. She's taken a vow of poverty and is not supposed to have control of her money, but you've never seen a more money crazy individual. She's just an evil, horrible person. And so when someone is dying in my family, or she thinks that they are, she flies in and dispatches them. And she did this with my father and with my mother. She takes over, and nobody likes her, nobody wants her. She's a horrible person. And she's got a lot of money because her convent, her religious community, is a tax deductible or tax exempt enterprise, and they received a great deal of land grants from the Ontario provincial government to run residential schools for Indigenous children. The schools are all closed down, but for some reason they got to keep all the land. And I estimate that my sister spent about $350,000 fighting my attempts to restore my brother's visits with me. So when I found out about this fraudulent and forged power of attorney, I complained and I applied to set it aside. And the group home L'Arche, which is a cult started by two SEX predators, Jean Vanier, a retired Canadian naval officer, and Thomas Philippe, a defrocked, excommunicated French Catholic priest. They started the L'Arche cult. And when I objected to this fraudulent and forged power of attorney, they terminated my visits with my brother. And I was never able to restore them. On April 13th, I got an email, or on April 15th, I got an email that Paul had a stroke and he was at Burnaby General Hospital. And even at Burnaby General Hospital, the evil nun flew in 2 days after Paul had the stroke. And she was going to dispatch him. There was no way he could survive. And the reason I'm posting these videos is to point out my experience of watching my brother, helplessly watching my brother be killed by Burnaby Hospital. He was struggling to recover from the stroke. I brought him a book. He grabbed the book from my hand and sat up and looked me in the eye, turned the pages perfectly. And he had a ventilator and a catheter, but he was doing well. But when my sister discovered that she was being investigated for the fraudulent and forged representation agreement, I knew she was going to kill him so that no one could interview him and they couldn't get a sample of a signature. And that's what they did. So she found out that she was being investigated on April 21st, and he was dead by April 23rd. So and what she's done now is she's applied. She's had her lawyers apply to have me declared a vexatious litigant. And there's going to be a hearing in September and then a 4-day hearing in November. And I have to represent myself. So I pointed out that a couple of days ago, every single day after my visits were terminated, I took the bus across town and left a letter at the British Columbia Community Living BC office. The British Columbia government is currently run by the Socialist New Democratic Party, with David Eby, is the acting premier. He's never elected to be premier, but he has appointed himself to be premier, and that's what he's doing. But there's going to be an election on October 19th of this year. And what I'm asking everyone to do, I used to campaign for the New Democratic Party. Sven Robinson, the first New Democratic Party member of Parliament, was a friend of mine, and I campaigned for him. But my father warned me about these evil communist socialists, that they give you everything and then they can take it away. I watched them kill my brother. They sedated him to death as he struggled to recover from the stroke. So there's going to be an election in British Columbia. Throw these assholes out. They're killers. They run this province into the ground. They took away all our rights under the premise of the COVID-19. That was the reason why they created this fraudulent and forged representation agreement over my brother. They care nothing about human rights. Premier David Eby used to be the president of the British Columbia Civil Liberties Association, and you never saw anybody who cares less about civil liberties. So please advocate for the BC United or Conservative parties in BC. Get out there, campaign, door knock. I had a New Democratic Party after going to the government office to ask for a meeting for 588 days. They knock on my door 2 days ago asking me to vote for them. They wouldn't even meet with me. So, as you can probably tell, I don't look like somebody who's grieving. I've yet to cry about Paul. I'm just kind of frozen, and I think I'm frozen and I'm unable to grieve his passing because of the injustice, that I will not be able to properly grieve until we throw this evil government out and restore civil rights in British Columbia. So remember, October 19th, the New Democratic Party of BC, the socialist communists, assholes that killed my brother, are going to be asking for your vote. Throw them out on their ass. Take care, everybody. Paul, I miss you so much. I just got an alarm went off on my phone. We're supposed to be having a visit right now. A scheduled visit. And I haven't got the heart to take the alarm off my phone. I love you. I hope you're having fun in heaven, dear. Take care, everybody. Have a wonderful summer.